Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. That's right, you can change the channel. It's not too late. You don't have to watch. No, I'm delighted that you're here. The show Streaming Idiots is all about people, regular, normal people. At least they started out regular and normal, and they got intrigued by this live streaming thing. And before you knew it, they were streaming idiots, and so they all come here. So we're glad that you did. If you're watching this on Facebook, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We'd love to have you come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com right now and click the Watch Live tab, and that'll take you to this same show, but you get the chat room. And the guys in chat are just they're going crazy today, and I think it's an all boys show. Yep, no ladies in the chat today, so behave yourselves, guys. Really stoked about my guest today, Cliff Sobel. I can't wait to bring him to you. Cliff has done some amazing things. He streamed in the largest cathedral in the world. You're not going to want to miss that. And we've got Cliff coming up. But before we do, that's right. Coming up next month is NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters Conference, Convention, and Trade Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you're anywhere close, you need to be there. It is the show for live streaming. Everybody who is anybody in live streaming will be there with their products, with their services, whatever it is, including yours truly. vMix has asked me to be part of their team again this year, and we are going to be in the South Hall at booth 4620. You'll want to make a note of that. It's South Hall lower, so it's SL 4620. That might be a answer to a trivia question that will win you. Yes, we're giving away all sorts of stuff at the vMix booth every day of, I was going to say every day of Streaming Idiots, but it's every day of NAB. So come on by and say hi, and I'd love to meet you in person. And we'll also be doing our Streaming Idiots show that same week, but we're going to do it from the PTZ Optics booth, and that's in the Central Hall, and I'll get the booth number for you for that. It's easy to look up those. NAB does a great job of making all that information easily available. So we'll be doing that Wednesday at noon local time. If you want to come by and watch an actual broadcast of this show, if you want to come by and watch an actual train wreck of this show, then that's what you'll want to do, is come on by the PTZ Optics booth. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, Tuesday night of NAB week, that's April 10th, we're doing a special Streaming Idiots meetup. That's right, we're doing a meetup at NAB week on Tuesday night at Scott Whitney's Podworks studio, which is a 3-set live streaming studio right there in Las Vegas. So if you've always wanted to see how other people do it, you can come and check out Scott's studio and hang around for the meetup. It starts at 7 o'clock, and we'll have refreshments. We're sponsored by vMix and PTZ Optics, and of course Scott's studio and my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, and Magewell and PI Engineering, the X Keys folks, and Jan, and did I forget somebody? Oh golly, I hate when I do this because I might have forgotten somebody. If I forgot you, remind me, and I'll make a special point of making that. I don't think I forgot anybody though. So that's Tuesday, April 10th. Everybody's invited, and that I think it's going to be the place to be that week. It's going to be a fun show because you get to meet all your Streaming Idiots buddies and finally meet them in person. You know, you get to meet Rich and Dave and Martin Kay from Manchester, England is going to be there. He's coming all the way over to NAB. So, I mean, heck, I'd show up just to meet Martin. Martin's one of my heroes. Kent, you need to be there, man. That is where you need to be. Kent's like, what? We are bringing up our vMix 101 class has been very successful. We're doing it again. It's on our website at easternshorebroadcasting.com. If you're interested in knowing more about vMix, how it operates, it's a 6-week class. It starts May 22nd, and it covers all of the basics of live production with vMix. It will fill in your knowledge if you're already using vMix. If you're just starting out, it's going to be a great way to get the whole width of vMix. Maybe not the depth, but definitely the width of vMix, how wide it is. And we're also thinking about, and would love to have your input, we're thinking about putting together a New Blue FX and vMix class. So if you're interested in that, shoot me a note, drop me a PM on Facebook or through our contact page at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Would love to know what you think about that. And last but not least, here comes the infomercial part. Oh, that was the info. This is the commercial. The commercial is that we design and build PCs for streaming. Yep, don't do any Mac stuff. It's all PCs because vMix only runs on PCs. We are representatives for vMix. We represent PTZ Optics. We represent Magewell and Uon and X-Keys, and we're delighted to do that. And I'm saying, no, we don't represent Intel. But we have been asked by vMix to build them an Obsidian reference system for NAB. Now, they asked us to build several systems for them last year and ship them out to Las Vegas, and we did that. And this year they've said, hey, we just want the big boy. And this is like a 480 core processor or something ridiculous like that. It's amazing. It's a huge CPU. Can't wait to get that guy built. This guy is going on the workbench to be built as soon as the show is over today. At least we're going to start the build. We've had 6 PCs go through the workbench in the last 10 days, so we've been pretty busy. But we're not too busy for you. So if you're thinking about having a live streaming PC, something more than off the shelf, maybe you've done the off the shelf thing or you've done the build it yourself thing and you're ready for a professional PC built for you to your specifications, drop me a line, Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com, through the contact page at easternshorebroadcasting.com, or through Facebook, or call me, or however you want to choose to get a hold of me. At least let me talk to you about that, because I think we can save you some heartache. For sure, for sure. Anyway, and a big shout out to all of you that got your new systems. Let's see, some people got them yesterday. Some people will be getting theirs Friday. So, in fact, we just shipped one to the Virgin Islands. Boy, I was hoping that they would want me to come down and install it personally. But, and this is a shout out to John Gilbert at the Baptist church down there, and because it's for a church. And John invited me to come down and stay with them, and that would be great. So this is the U.S. Virgin Islands, so we might have to do that. Anyway, okay, we got all the commercial stuff out of the way. So it's been a lot of fun. Let's see, we have a guest today. What happened to our guest? His video has disappeared. Let's bring in our guest. Oh, there he is, Cliff. He's back. Cliff, welcome. Have you got audio? Can you hear me? No, you can't. You can hear me, but I've muted you. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Okay.
There we are.
I was going to pull the old Tom Sinclair trick where you just move your lips, but I decided not to.
Well, if you had, you would have already been muted, and I would have been going, oh, hold on a second. It's me.
Yeah.
Cliff, I'm so delighted. Now, I sent Cliff an email this morning. I said, hey, you want to come on the show today? And he said, sure, why not? That would be something I could do. So, Cliff, how long ago was it that you live streamed in the Cathedral in New York? This is the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, the largest cathedral in the world.
That was in the middle of December that I live streamed that concert.
Okay. Had you live streamed something like that before?
No.
No.
I'm the kind of person that goes, I want to go do that. I'm just going to do it. And I have been working with this the artist who performed. It's a secular show performed in the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. It is 2 football fields long, and it is 12 stories high, plunked in Upper Manhattan. I've been working with this artist for about 10 years in photography and video, working on a documentary with him. His name is Paul Winter of the Paul Winter Consort. And I kind of gently brought them into live streaming as I kind of abruptly brought myself into live streaming.
You were one step ahead of them, huh?
Almost.
Almost a whole step ahead of them. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, almost.
So you're doing this gig. You're doing this gig in a cathedral that is not wired for any kind of event like this. Has acoustics that are a tremendous challenge. And how many cameras? How many mics? Tell us how many people on your team. Give us the background of the gig.
Okay, so this past year was actually a relatively small shoot for what's in my brain. I'm a guy who lives in fantasy world, and that's the way I get things to be reality, is by thinking in fantasies first. And I did only a 4-camera shoot for this concert, because you can imagine a performing center that's 2 football fields long. You really do need more than 4 cameras. But as again, I'm gently bringing the artist into this world of live streaming. So we had 4 cameras, one of those cameras being a wireless NDI camera using an app on my iPhone 7 Plus.
Cool.
As far as audio goes, I got a drop from the sound engineer, and he gave me two XLRs, and so I had stereo going into my Behringer interface.
True stereo.
Yes.
Oh wow. Oh wow. I bet that sounded spectacular on the live stream.
It was when we finally got the audio working correctly, because I could not. They don't usually get their act together until Thursday night when the show starts. So I couldn't do proper sound checks. And because I couldn't do sound checks, and my Yamaha mixer, I don't know if you remember this, Tom, but my Yamaha mixer was not working properly. So I ran down to B&H and I bought a Behringer interface, and fortunately that worked, but I wasn't really together with the audio levels on the interface, the audio levels in vMix, and so the first couple of shows were a complete nightmare when it came to audio. And it wasn't until the second night that I started to get an understanding of what I had to do to make the audio work properly.
Trial by fire. Oh my goodness. No better way to learn. I mean, assuming you don't panic and melt down like I do.
My whole career has been trial by fire.
Well, then you're made of tough stuff. Now what other cameras were you using besides your iPhone?
In this case, I was using Sony's. I was using Sony mirrorless cameras.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something that I believe about cameras. So I love those PTZ optic cameras. I think they're really cool. But when you're going into theatrics, and the theatrics are not made for video, they are made purely for theatrics, you have to really think about your sensor and your processors and the capabilities of the camera.
Right.
And while I would have loved to use something like a PTZ camera, that would not have been the best option for me because I needed a larger sensor. And I come out of the digital imaging world. I've been working in the world of digital imaging for over 30 years. So I didn't even use my Canons for this, and I've been working with Canon for well over 20 years. So I felt the mirrorless cameras were a much better option for me. Plus, I could put on interchangeable lenses, so I could get more dramatic effect while I was streaming.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so
I have them set up here, by the way.
So have you got some pictures you can share of this event?
Well, of the event? You know,
Yeah.
Tom, I was having problems with the desktop capture. I have desktop capture, but I could not get my images working in desktop capture.
Okay. Well, is there a page on the internet that I can go to?
Yes, I can give that to you now. You can go to Facebook
Yes.
and put in.
I've heard of that.
Type, yeah, Facebook, and then you're going to look for Paul Winter, his page, the Paul Winter page.
All right.
And you can go to, let's go to photographs. Photos. And you can start scrolling down to about your 1, 2, 3, 4. Your fifth line, first picture on the left, is an image of the cathedral.
No. It's a picture of a dancer. But let's go. This is an exterior image of the cathedral or an interior image?
I was going to show you an interior image.
Okay. Let's see if this is it. Does it look like
under
that?
Under all photos. No, that's rehearsal.
That's rehearsal. Okay.
Yes. Let me see if I can get back here. Yeah, you're not on. They have a problem with their pages. Let me put into the chat.
All right, we'll get this worked out, folks. Hope you're not in a hurry.
It is. Yep. Try Paul Winter. He has 2 different pages.
Okay.
And it'll be the Paul Winter page where you see a profile of him playing a alto sax against like kind of rocky mountainside in the background.
That one right there.
You see that?
Yeah. Okay.
And if you go down to photos.
Okay.
Oh, okay, you're into photos. Go down 1, 2, 3. Keep on going. Okay, they're not showing up. Yeah, you're not in the right one. But those are pictures of the cathedral. I'm trying to show you the cathedral pictures. Go back up, 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 up. Okay, go to your, no. No, that's not the Paul Winter. That's not the Paul Winter page. It's a very confusing system they have. When I brought this in on desktop capture, it would not show up.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It is, hold on, can you scroll down a little bit? It's not the top. It is not the top.
Okay, that's where we were. Let's go through all of them.
No. Nope. It's not it.
Well, let's do a little helper here. And is he in Connecticut?
He is.
Oh, if I could spell, that'd be dangerous. Still not seeing him. Well,
Okay.
heck.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm not giving up yet.
Okay, don't give up yet.
Ready?
Sure.
I just sent you a link
Okay.
in your messenger.
All right. I got it. Let's see if we can get lucky and get right back to it.
That's the page.
That's the page. The beauty of the internet. And there we go. That looks real similar to the page I was on, but it's different. So now we're going to go down to photo number 5. There we go. All right. And that just happens to be the photo that I pulled today to use in Twitter. There you go.
Oh, well, that's the cathedral, and that is at the end of the first half of the show. The show is about the longest night of the year, and at the end of the longest night, the sun rises, and you can't see it, but there's a guy sitting on a gong being raised up to the top of the cathedral. And that's actually the largest gong in the world. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh my goodness.
And it has been on the David Letterman show.
Well, there's a gong for you. So, okay, so direct me somewhere else.
Okay.
Here, and we'll try to do these pictures.
Let me go back to Paul Winter.
So we'll go back there.
I'd love to be able to show you, hold on a second, my setup. Let's see.
Your setup's probably not on his page, is it?
No, it's on my page.
Yeah.
Sorry that I did not have these together for you.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll work it out. This is very much ad hoc as it was. Let's move you over to the other side. What do you think? There we go. That must have been a spectacular. I mean, it just looks awesome with the colors. And,
yeah, it's unbelievable.
I bet the acoustics were stunning.
The acoustics are amazing. There's actually, I think, a 10 or 15 second delay from one side of the cathedral to the other.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Forget about trying to mic that.
Yeah, you have to be pretty good. You got to know your stuff in order to be an engineer. There's 100 people who work on this show. And yeah, I can't find my setup right now.
Okay.
Fortunately.
Okay.
But it's the same setup that's pretty much on my desk right now.
So tell us about the vMix end of it.
So I'm going to tell you, can I tell you a little story about me and vMix?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. This is pretty much the setup.
Oh, we
that
need.
I had. Are you hearing me twice?
Yeah, I'm hearing you twice. Why
How's
don't you
that better?
mute your Behringer mic? Yeah, there we go.
I did. I did.
Okay.
So this is pretty much the setup that I had at winter solstice, because we're in my studio right now. So I'll tell you a little bit about the setup. I have a Dell gaming Predator, a gaming laptop with tons of stuff in it. I have connected to it a Behringer interface. I had connected to it as the Behringer interface. I built this little expansion bay. It's a Sonnet expansion bay with 3 black magic cards that have both HD SDI and HDMI.
Good.
And then, of course, I have a backup hard drive that after I record SSID, the show to my internal hard drive, I then offload it to this little hard drive, external hard drive here.
Okay.
My camera setup, this is the mess that is my camera setup. A little Frankenstein going on there.
I love it.
So, are you interested? Do you want me to describe this?
Yes.
Okay. So, this is a Sony camera. This is I think it's a 6500, the A6500. I was using 6500s and AR7s, 7.2s for this show. And I was using various lenses. That's actually a Canon 50mm prime on there right now, but I did not use that for the show. I used 70 to 200s. Some of them I used Canon lenses. I used some Sony lenses, 70 to 200s. I also used the 18 to 105s with the power zoom on them. And here's how it works. I have mini HDMI coming out of the camera. It then goes into a Blackmagic converter and comes out SD HDI. Whoops. It then goes into the back of my Sonnet expansion bay and then goes Thunderbolt 3 into my laptop.
Okay.
But the reason why this looks like such spaghetti is because I also have a 7-inch monitor because the 3-inch is just way too small. So I've connected that 7-inch monitor, and that's going out of, it's coming out of here, back out of this HDMI into this splitter, and then goes into this monitor.
Okay.
So that's what's creating such a Frankenstein.
Nice.
So, yeah. So that was actually the basic setup, and I had 3 of those in the camera that we're using right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Don't forget to turn your Behringer mic back on.
1 second.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been on the whole time.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So that was like kind of the basic setup, and I had 3 of those cameras. The live streaming was so successful this past year that we have very big plans for next year. And oh, by the way, I had to work with the IT people at the Cathedral. We brought in a contractor, an IT contractor, and we had gigabit. We had wireless. We had one wireless access point, so we could use the wireless.
Okay.
And then everything else was connected. So we had somebody who was able to rove around within 150 feet of the access point, and it worked very well as long as we had line of sight.
Right.
So next year, they believe they loved what it did for them. They actually had the best year that the show has had in the past 10 years, and part of it was due to the live streaming.
All right. Oh, hold on. Wait.
Wait.
We can't let this one go by. This is too good. This is too good. So you're telling me when they had the best show, you mean they had the best attendance?
They had the best attendance and financially the best year.
Because they encouraged people to stay home and watch the live stream.
No. I'm going to explain that. I worked with their social media guy, and we did a series of talk shows leading up to the concert. So I went out and went to various locations interviewing folks who have something to do with the show. So I was in Connecticut at a coffee shop, and we had we set up a live stream there, and we had a conversation with one of the very popular performers within the show. I was also, I don't know how many of you know WNYC in New York City. It's an NPR station. And I interviewed a gentleman who's an icon in New York by the name of John Schaefer. And John Schaefer does various music programs on NPR. And one of the things he does is every year, he is the host of the Winter Solstice program on 350 NPR stations around the country. So I went to Manhattan. We set up there. And we did a live stream, and I interviewed John Schaefer. And so we interviewed various audiences, and we drove traffic to the event through thoughtful, strategic social media and thoughtful, strategic live streaming programming up to the concert.
Awesome. So you used live streaming to promote the event and also to promote the live stream. What kind of viewership did you get on the live stream? The live stream of the event. Do you know? Do you have some numbers on that?
On the event, we would get anywhere from, I guess, 3,000 to 5,000 viewers, but which is not terribly high. But the engagement was crazy from around the world. I mean, just hundreds of comments every single performance, not just likes, but actual comments of how much people love the show. Hi from New Mexico. Hi from Germany, hi from Singapore. I wish I was there. I went once. It was such a great show. The engagement was absolutely, it was past our expectations.
Now, who paid for all this?
So I did.
Ah.
So you might want to ask me why.
Why?
Well, Tom, as you know, I'm a guy who likes to take risks.
Yes.
And I convinced them that next year we're going to monetize it.
Ah, okay.
So what I've done is I've paid my dues by working with this artist diligently. And saying, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. If I'm successful, then we get to monetize this next year. And they have agreed. And they're going to give me more technology to play with in the Cathedral so that I can have more wireless access with more power. And I'm going to do special programming, not just a concert, but more talk shows behind the scenes, and create a package that can be sold to viewers globally. Because Paul has a very large global fan base. So I go in steps. My risks are in steps. So now I've gotten to the point where they've said, okay, Cliff, you proved yourself. So next year is really where the rubber meets the road, and we'll see whether I win or lose.
So would you share with me a general ballpark of what it cost you to put on a production like this?
The thousands.
Yeah.
How many are you talking about?
Go ahead.
Oh, I had a crew of 1, 2, 3, 4. I had a crew of like 4 or 5 people, which is actually quite small. But I did have a crew of about 4 or 5 people. I had some of the equipment. I had to rent some equipment.
Right.
So I was at Adorama in New York.
Right.
I was at Borrow Lenses. You know, I rented from Borrow Lenses. So it cost me a lot, plus all the time, and then going back and forth.
Right.
Into Manhattan every day.
Yep. And how many different nights was this? 3 nights?
3 nights, 4 shows.
3 nights, 4 shows.
Right.
Okay.
Now, here's the other piece of good news. There's a couple more things I need to discuss. And one is, even if I don't make a lot of money on this,
yes,
I've got fantastic content.
Absolutely.
That I can use going forward.
Yes.
And when I've had presentations in major theaters in New York, and guess what? Oh, you worked with the 7-time Grammy winner, and I show them some of my footage and what I've done. I've got instant credibility. So what it does is it raises my level of credibility to be able to walk into other places. So
well, and for people, Cliff, for people like you and me, having any credibility at all is just amazing. I mean, it just, you know, it's
yeah, that's for sure.
and so to have that association, I mean, that just, you know, somebody just rubber stamped on your forehead. He's legitimate. He's the real deal.
You're actually correct, and I actually got letters from both the artist and the person in charge of marketing documenting that what I did was one of the reasons why they had the best show they've had in 10 years.
I love it. I love it.
And when I've made presentations, those quotes are in my presentation.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, right. Those are gold. Those are gold.
Right, so, you know, I've been a risk taker throughout my career. I have failed many more times than I have succeeded, but the successes that I've had have far outweighed all the failures combined by a lot.
Preach it. Preach it. I love it. I love it.
You know, I started my career. You don't even want to know how I started my career, but I've always been,
that'll be
I
the
always
next
like
show.
to think ahead. I'm always thinking ahead. You know, I started working in digital video in 1992 when people laughed at me because I had this little application called Adobe Premiere with a little card called the Radius Video Vision Studio. And people are saying, what are you going to do with that? I said, I'm going to edit videos on here. And most folks went, what? You can't, forget that stuff. That's not going to happen. So I've always just taken the road not taken, you know.
Yeah.
I take the one less traveled by.
The road less traveled, absolutely. 2 roads converged upon a wood. Yep, I got it.
That's correct.
I got it. I knew we were kindred spirits. So
now,
what's?
Tom, I will tell you,
all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That I do not consider myself a technical guy.
Right.
I consider myself somebody who uses technology to get what I want. A means to an end.
I love it.
It's cool, but I'm not great at it. I'm really not great at it. I mean, you see me struggle. And I will get really great at this, but I'm going to get great at this by telling other people what to do, but I'm going to learn it first. I'm going to
Right.
learn it first so
Right.
that I have a good understanding of it. And so I just, that's just the way I am. I'm not a technologically oriented guy. I just learn what I have to know for what I have to use it for.
Well, you also have vision, and you can see things that have not yet been created, have not yet come to fruition, and you can then map out how to make what I see happen. And in your case, it's a matter of taking technology that you know exists and you understand what it should look like. It's just the how-to that you're getting. And I will tell folks at home, Cliff, if you don't mind, that Cliff has attended 2 of our classes from Eastern Shore Broadcasting, the Introduction to Live Streaming class and our vMix 101 class.
It's interesting.
Sometimes while he's in the car.
That is true. I'm going to Manhattan. Here's what I'm going to tell you about that. I have a thirst for knowledge, and when I want something, there's nothing that will stop me. So besides your 2 classes, I've also taken classes from Luria and David. I attend every kind of seminar online. I go to Streaming Media East. I watch Amber at live stream. I'm even taking a class now on podcast storytelling because I have my own show that I do here in my studio. And so I'm taking a class with a guy by the name of Alex Blumberg, who's had a lot of shows on his own, and he teaches you how to conduct interviews that are actually getting your guests to tell stories. So I'm doing everything, I'm taking every kind of class I possibly can, and then I apply the knowledge that I learn, little bits at a time.
Right. I get it. I get it. All right. Well, at the very least, we're going to bring you back on the show in like February or March of next year after you do the winter solstice gig again and hear of your tremendous successes again.
It will be my pleasure. I have to tell you, Tom, you've been a terrific help to me. You and Alan, and there are a lot of folks that have just been such a great help to me when I have a question, when I take a class, and that means a lot. It really does. To know that I have something to hang my hat on to. When I first started, I started with Meerkat, and then I went to the Mevos, and I had Livestream, and then I ended up in vMix, and then I found you, and now I know that when I have an issue, I'm not alone anymore.
Right.
And there are people, there's like this little subculture I have found, including you.
Yep.
So that it helps me get through what I need to get through.
Yep. Yep. It's a neat community of folks. It definitely is. It's kind of like the computers way back in the BBS world, where you had local user groups, and they gathered together and shared what they knew. Yep. Except now you can do it anywhere in the world.
And I'm a sharer when it comes to information. So anybody who wants to contact me and they have questions about what I do, and again, I don't consider myself the most technologically astute guy, and if that's what you're looking for, I'm not that guy. But if anything else, I'm happy to share what I've learned that has anything to do with live streaming or selling or how to handle clients. I'm happy to help anybody.
There's the offer, folks. Can't beat that one. Cliff, thank you for taking time out of your day today. I really do appreciate it. And don't forget, you probably have homework for next week's class. So
yeah, I have to go look at the class.
You have to go look at the class schedule. That's right.
It looked like a great class, too. I was so mad. I wanted to go watch it live.
It was one of the best. It was one of the best. If you have any questions, let me know.
I certainly will.
All right.
Absolutely.
Chief, thank you
again.
You bet.
Thank you very much. Okay, take care.
So what do you think? I tell you what, it's hard to find good quality folks like that, especially on 10 minutes notice. So thank you, Cliff, so much for coming on. And if you've got just another minute, we'll get you to stay on and answer some questions in the post show. For folks that are watching live, thank you so much for watching. We will have a post show where Cliff will take some questions. And if you're watching this after the fact, you know, come watch us live one day. It's a ton of fun to be in the chat room and to be able to talk back and forth with the guests. Next week, our guest is going to be Jeff Adams of the Jeff Adams Show. Jeff has been a part of NAB for years as one of the hosts of the Broadcast Beat show that is live from NAB every year. And so Jeff will come on next week, and you won't want to miss that. Don't forget, if you're at NAB, April 10th, Tuesday night, is the Streaming Idiots meetup, and you will want to be there. And don't forget to come by and say hi when you're at NAB at the vMix booth in the South Lower Hall, 4620. I'm Tom Sinclair. This has been Streaming Idiots. It doesn't get any worse than this. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Whoops. And that was going to be my grand exit after such an eloquent way of getting out of that shot. Oh, well, let's try again. We'll see you next time.